Why, hello! Welcome back, y'all. Earlier this summer, I put together a tier maker list of my top tier waifus. I had a ton of fun making that video and getting the opportunity to revisit a few of my favorite shows. So much, in fact, I decided to do this again, only this time, we're gonna take a look at my top tier husbandos. Woo! If you happen to be someone who's not super familiar with anime terminology, hi! Are you lost? I'm kidding. Please allow me to explain what husbando is. Usually, this describes a male character one admires with looks that could kill, and big, strong arms you want to be held by on a cold, dark night. I mean, they're your favorite! The rules have not changed from the last time I did a tier list. I did my best to limit myself to one husbando from a show I've seen. I'm hopeful this will be an effective way to illustrate my taste in anime and maybe inspire you to recommend me some new shows to watch. With that said, let's move on to the list! First up is the question mark tier. Left here for posterity, mostly. If you choose to take a look at this tier maker yourself, link in the description, you can dump everyone you don't know here. Now let's take a look at the F tier, aka garbage tier. This tier is reserved for absolute worst dregs of anime with no redeeming qualities. I've also placed characters in here that fit into the boy hero trope. You know, the kind of guy that's absolutely amazing at everything for no reason, who can do no wrong, and never really learns anything. You could also use this tier to sort the characters in that scream cringe. Naturally, Light and Kirito fit right in. Next up is tier D, aka the Nothing Burgers. I know what you're thinking. This is where I put all the characters with huge, meaty character development. This tier is best suited for the trope of being as interesting as a slice of white bread. That is to say, they mostly exist in romantic comedy genre anime, and are built around being a stand-in for the viewers so they can live in a world where more than one woman's interested in them. At the same time, no less. Blah. So, as you might expect, Yuta, Issei, and Dino fall into this category perfectly. Confession time! Early on when my anime addiction took root, I was obsessed with romantic comedy anime with useless protagonists. It didn't really bother me that the story went nowhere and the main character was a pile of nothing, because I was more interested in the harem. As time wore on, I felt more and more out of love with these shows. They became predictable, they became less of an escape from reality and more of a cocoon to hide in. It has gotten to the point where I will skip on a show if there really isn't anything beyond the boy meets girl, and then another dynamic. We have arrived at tier C, aka the meh tier. Being stuck in the middle, this is where I placed all of the average Joe characters. They're not all bad, but they lack that something that gets the blood flowing. You know, this is a place especially reserved for seasonal characters like our young writer Masamune. But it's also a place I would put folks in like the mouthy neat Kazuma, or the edgy neat Fafnir. You know what? This is now a neat tier. Ah, jeez, another term. Neat. There are hermits that are usually young and aspire to do nothing more than stay in their room. It's a bit more complicated, but that's for another video, I guess. Anyway, this is a tier where I would place a character that I can't really vibe with because they have one major flaw that makes everything else about them not really worth the effort. Now we're really getting up there. Welcome to tier B, aka Boomer tier. You are all probably familiar with these classic husbandos if you're older than this website. Here we got the hardest gym leader ever known, Brock. I've always had a soft spot for him. Poor guy. Then there's true royalty and the official king of tsunderes, Vegeta. Last but certainly not least is the most studious, the most ambitious, and a man with godlike self-control, Kintaro. There are quite a few husbandos out there worthy of this tier that I missed out on. This is due in part to how late I got into anime and how little I've watched of the classics. I got an idea. Leave a comment and tell me what your favorite old anime is. Alright people, welcome to tier A, aka top tier. This is where we find the characters that are nearly perfect, be it for their unrivaled intellect like the mysterious owl. Then we have the Machiavellian determination of Dio, who happens to also be a Dracula, and I think we all know what they're best at. We also have the remarkable relatability of Shirogane, who should shut up and kiss Kaguya already. And don't you dare spoil Season 2 for me, or so help me, I will haunt your dreams. Lastly, we can't forget about the loyalty of Kanti. I understand if you're apprehensive about this choice. He is a robot, yes. Let me just say that machines have a knack for being able to do things flesh and blood can't seem to do. Bing bong! We've arrived at tier S, aka Best Boy tier. This is absolutely filled to the brim with some of the best male leads in anime history. In my opinion, of course. Your mileage may vary. Now that I look at this tier again with new eyes, I notice that I've managed to place everyone with a tragic backstory in this tier. That makes me feel like the biggest reason these guys touch my heart is because of how much they broke it. Go away! Happy thoughts! So, what else can I say about this tier? Any one of these characters could be Husbando. They check all the boxes, meet all the requirements. They can't top my angel, though. I don't want to gloss over this tier, but I realized early on that anything that needs to be said about these characters has already been said. All I can really do is remind you that these shows exist, and if they're in your backlog, maybe try watching one of them instead of the usual YouTube binge. Alright people, the moment you've been waiting for has finally arrived. Please allow me to introduce Alessa Pierce Husbando, Crimvale, from Interspecies Reviewers. First, a disclaimer. The anime this character is from would likely get an X rating were the dub to be completed and released, which I heard is happening. That is to say, it's very unsuitable for children, so if you're not an adult, I need you to cover your ears and eyes right now and count to 1,000,000. Okay, I think we're good. So why Crimvale? That's a very good question. And if it's not already obvious, Crimvale's not like most guys. This anime is so hard to talk about in too much detail, but I'll do my best to explain. You have a group of 6 guys whom you could call the Interspecies Reviewers, living in a fantasy-style world, aka Isekai. What do they review, you scream loudly in the back? Brothels! You see, the town they reside in has a most diverse red light district. You can meet ladies and gentlemen of all types, including elves, slimes, fairies, harpies, you name it. And boy do our heroes meet them. Cream happens to fall into this debauchery one day out of the blue. I don't really want to spoil anything, but for the sake of the video, I'll just say that in episode 1, Cream appears to have fallen from heaven. He's nearly killed by a giant, but is saved at the last second by Stunk and Zell. Through the rest of the series, we get to see his relationship with these reviewers develop into a strong friendship, as they all enjoy many new experiences, and leave glowing reviews at the tavern for all to see. Despite all of the perverse corruption, Cream's heart seems to remain true. He never really becomes like the other reviewers, at least, not completely. Moreover, he ends up caring very much for them, and ensuring their depraved desires don't result in their untimely deaths by snoo. That kind of person is very rare, and it's what I admire most about Crim. Among other things. That's the list! So what did you think? Let me know in the comments. I also left a link in the description for this tier maker if you want to make a list of your own. I will eventually add more characters to it, as I am with the waifu list. Oh hey, check that video out too. Thank you so much for watching my video, and I hope to see you again in the next one. Until then, ciao! How do I rewind? Blah, 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 blah. Can I get through one paragraph without fucking up? Let's find out. I had a ton of fun. Blah. What the fuck, Siri? This describes a male character one admires who with, fuck, why is that so hard to read? Fuck off, Siri. This is what I get for trying to talk for longer than 2 minutes. This is gonna be so hard to cut together, isn't it? Oh well.